Rube, right now, as people are listening to this, I am probably hiking through a desert somewhere.
Is it hot where you are?
It's in the 60s.
Okay.
Yeah, not too hot.
Not too bad.
Yeah. This is Eagle Eye Podcast presented by Nissan. He's Reuben Frank. I'm Dave Zangaro. Live from West Texas. Not live. This is recorded. We mentioned on the last pod, we're recording these too. So if there's news that breaks and we're not talking about it, that's why. But we wanted to keep the schedule and we have plenty of stuff to talk about. So we're doing it that way.
Yeah. Why not? It's better than nothing.
I think so. I think it's better than nothing.
It might even be better than a live podcast. I haven't figured out why.
I don't know why.
I don't know. Yeah. Let's just forget that. Anyway.
We have some stuff to talk about today. Of course, all the head coaches in the NFL.
We don't have anything to talk about today.
Have been filled.
That's the end of the podcast.
We'll go through that. The Super Bowl coming up on Sunday. We'll break down the game. We have some fun prop bets that we'll go over under and kind of take our pick there. We have our predictions for the Super Bowl. We're on different sides of that one, so that'll be fun to talk about in a little bit. But we wanted to start this pod. The last podcast, we talked about the offensive pending free agents for this Eagles team. Today, we'll look at the defense.
Let's do it.
And we'll go alphabetically here, which is, I like doing it alphabetically, by the way, because it like kind of mixes in the big names with the other names. You don't have to like think about all the important ones, and then by the end of it, you kind of trail off.
Okay. You have a weird way of looking at things sometimes.
Yes.
All right, where are we starting?
We're starting with Sean Bradley, the linebacker who missed the entire season after an Achilles tear.
Yeah, that was tough. They missed him on special teams, although the special teams were really good. Maybe he was the problem. No, I'm just kidding. Rancocas Valley graduate. I won't talk about his track career because you'll get mad at me and throw things at me.
Temple,
played Temple. Yeah, I mean, first thing you got to do is see where he is health-wise.
Mm-hmm.
It's an injury that can really affect a guy's career, although it's gotten better, the surgery and the results. But, if he's healthy and he wants to be here and he can help on special teams, he's a pretty good special teamer when he's healthy. I'd bring him back.
Yeah, at least bring him to camp.
Yeah.
Give him a chance to compete for a job.
Yeah.
I think that'd be all right.
But it is an injury and we see guys come back 100%.
Yeah, it's a shame for him to have it happen in a contract year.
Yeah. Yeah. So hopefully he's doing okay. We never saw it. Did you see him at all?
Oh, yeah, quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never saw him.
He has a distinct car, and I would see it parked out front quite a bit. And then, yeah, I'd see him walking in here or there.
Okay.
I got a chance to chat with him like a couple weeks after he started walking. So I remember him telling me like he was just going kind of stir crazy.
Yeah.
Kind of waiting for that to heal. But it happened early enough that like him and Zach McPherson, both in the preseason, that they should be ready to go for spring probably.
Yeah.
Or at least doing some stuff by the spring.
Yep. I saw Zach McPherson like every day the last few weeks.
Yeah, he was around a lot.
Yeah.
He's under contract too, by the way.
Yes.
Fletcher Cox.
Yeah, it's a really interesting one from a couple standpoints. I mean, is he going to retire? Does he want to play more? He was their best defensive lineman. They could sure use him.
They're most consistent, at least.
Yeah, maybe the high points weren't as high as Jalen Carter the first month, but for the whole year, he was really, really good. I thought it was his best year in a couple of years. And if he does want to keep playing, he's not a guy that's going to say, Howie, just give me $1.5 million and I'll play. I mean, he wants to be paid what he deserves, and I'm not sure they can do that. And they have Jalen and Jordan Davis and Milton Williams. So it's kind of a tricky deal.
Yeah, I think you'd want him back if you can get him at the right price, but like he's a prideful guy too. And if he wants to keep playing and they're not willing to pay him what he thinks he deserves,
somebody will.
Yeah. And that would stink to see him go somewhere else.
That would be. He's a guy. I feel like all those guys, Kelsey and Lane and Fletch and BG, should never wear another uniform. And that's unrealistic, probably. I think out of all those guys, Fletch is most likely. Kelsey never will. Lane could certainly. That's down the road. I don't think BG ever will.
But the way Lane talks about his career, like, he doesn't strike me as someone who's going to really try to hang on at the end.
Yeah, that's true.
I had an idea.
A light bulb. Alex can kind of put an animated light bulb over your head when that happens. My gut feeling is Fletch will be here. I'm not sure how.
Really? My gut is that he's not.
It might be unrealistic. I think Howie understands how you're probably right. I mean, you're probably right. It's probably just it's hard to imagine this team without him. That's probably what I'm doing. But I don't know. I don't know how you make it work, but they could sure use him.
I agree with that. The next one is Zach Cunningham, who Howie told us had a good season.
One of only 4 linebackers out of 91 linebackers started 10 or more games, off-ball linebackers. One of only 4 that didn't have a forced fumble, interception, or a sack. I think he plays hard. I think the effort was there.
I think he was better than expectation when you sign a guy in August 6th.
Yeah. He was their best linebacker.
Low bar.
But what worries me is, when Howie was kind of trying to talk everyone into the fact that Zach Cunningham had a good year. I think if you have a great defense and elite D-backs and edge rushers and interior linemen, and they have some of those things, Zach Cunningham is if he's your like 9th best defensive player, yeah, he could play for you. But on this defense, you got to be better than that.
It was kind of comical toward the end of the year when he was hurt, and everyone was like, well, you got Slay and Cunningham coming back.
Yeah.
Like, that'll save the season, right?
Yeah.
Was that Cunningham coming back?
Yeah.
And certainly having Slay back helped, but like, was that Cunningham coming back was the big answer?
Yeah. And I don't want to, knock the guy, but he's just not good enough.
Now, when Howie said that,
it's not like he's a young guy who's getting better. I mean, he's 29 and he's just a mediocre player.
Now, when Howie says that, my first thought is he's defending the way they handled linebacker this season. The second thought is scarier.
Right.
He's defending their plan for linebacker going forward.
That's how it struck me initially. He's defending the fact that they're going to re-sign him.
Or just like go that route again.
Yeah, and I think what it represents.
Because he said, like, yeah, we signed a weak side linebacker in August and it worked. Yeah, I don't know if it worked.
Yeah, I don't think it worked. He didn't make a play. He didn't make a play all year. He had a couple tackles for loss. He had 3 tackles for loss maybe or something like that.
2.
He took one away from him. I don't think he was the worst of their problems. I think he played hard. I think the effort was there. I just think they have to be better. And it's scary to think that Howie might not agree with me.
I think that is scary.
Because that Nakobe's going to get a shot at one spot, and I don't know if he's good enough. I kind of tend to think he might not be.
I just don't know.
We don't know. But you can't run it back with Nakobe and Zach Cunningham as your off-ball linebackers.
I agree. And like, since he's on this list, we can talk about Nick Morrow now. He's a free agent too. Like, you can't do that either.
No. Well, he didn't mention that. He actually, and even the way Howie said it about Cunningham, he actually had a good year.
Yeah, it was. And the funny part about it was a question about basically the structure of team building, and the defensive line did not perform up to expectations. That was the question. But Howie realized that in that question, there's a thought about linebackers, and he started answering about the linebackers, which tells you he's acutely aware of the talk around his defense.
Yeah. And Howie doesn't just say things like that unless there's a reason he's saying it. And it just seemed to me like, knowing Howie, he was kind of trying to like soften everyone up for the blow when they give Zach Cunningham a 5-year, $36 million.
I don't think we're going to see that.
$21 million guaranteed.
You know what the strangest part about that was to me? Howie saying he's like, he mentioned that in the 2 years I went to the Super Bowl, they had good linebacker play. Well, yeah. Well, then make sure you have good linebackers. All right. Isn't that weird?
Yeah. I mean, Kendricks played well and Bradham and in 17 and
Hicks for a while.
And Jordan Hicks till he got hurt. And then, yeah, I mean, TJ Edwards was really, really good. I thought Kaiser was up and down.
But he was like
But he was better than what they had this year.
Certainly.
Yeah.
It struck me weird, like to say that you're trying to defend your stance. You're saying that linebacker, I guess, is important to you because it was good in the years you were good. You can't have it both ways.
Yeah. I'm going to try to find this quote real quick while you're babbling.
About linebackers?
Just his tone, because he was we felt like we'd have the ability to get an off-ball linebacker, a will linebacker who can run and hit. And honestly, when you watch the tape, Zach Cunningham had a good year. He really did. It's like
he's trying to convince himself.
It sounded like it, but he really did. So, like, he knows what people think. He had a mentality that we like for that position. Yeah, I had no problem with his mentality, but yeah, got to do better.
I agree. Next one, similar in a way, Justin Evans at safety, a position where they probably have to just do better. It's a shame. He played 4 games.
It's been his career, though.
And he was just hurt. It looked like he was going to come back. And that would have been like a nice little depth boost at the time. And then he gets shut down for the year. You can't count on him.
Yeah. Yeah, no. When a guy keeps getting hurt, he's just going to keep getting hurt.
Most likely. And he played a full season last year, so I think there was some hope. Man, maybe he's turned a corner. That doesn't really happen.
I think he offers a little bit. I mean, he's a really physical guy.
That's like a depth piece special teamer.
Yeah.
You do worse.
Yeah.
But you could also do younger.
Yeah.
And a guy who's not going to be hurt all the time.
And how old is Justin Evans? He's 28.
He turns 29 in August. So he'll be 29 for next season.
Yeah. He's played 43 games in 7 years. Yeah. Can't count on guys like that.
Yeah. Next one, Brandon Graham. I think he's going to be back for year 15.
I do too.
I think he should be.
Why wouldn't he?
He can offer you something. Now, I think the bigger problem at edge this year, aside from the drop-off from the top 2 guys, was that Nolan Smith did not perform the way we expected a first-round pick to play.
Right.
Like, we all kind of slotted Nolan Smith in as the 3rd guy in the rotation, and if BG is your 4th, then that's fine.
Yeah.
But it wasn't that way. Nolan was buried, didn't perform very well when he was out there. I'm a little concerned about Nolan Smith. I know it's too early to make any sweeping declarations about him, but I expected more as a rookie.
Yeah, and I think one of the reasons BG had to play really the second half of the season, he played too many snaps. He was playing like 25 to 30 snaps, or early he was playing like 10 to 15. Kind of had to, because he was just more productive than Nolan Smith. Brandon Graham played well this year. There's one of the problems with this team is that like their best players are nearing retirement.
And he showed up in the playoff game.
Yeah, he did.
When no one else did.
Yeah. I've always been a big fan. One of my favorite guys.
He's always said 15 years.
Yeah.
Let him play the 15. I know like Howie's worried about sentimentality. Screw it. Keep Brandon Graham around for one more year.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not sentimentality when he's one of your more effective edge rushers.
Yeah, and he'll take.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not going to take a league minimum.
No. Well, he might.
He might.
He probably would.
He might. His agent's going to be like, Brandon, no, we're not taking this minimum deal.
He's made a lot of money in his career. He's earned it all. I'm going to look up his career earnings. Give me a guess. What do you think he's earned?
Well, he got in before.
I was low. I was going to guess 70 million.
He got in before the CBA.
Yeah.
So that like now it's all slotted pay.
Right.
But he got in before that. So
Right.
he got a good contract.
Yeah. You're talking about his rookie.
His
deal.
rookie
Yeah.
deal. Yeah. So he had the benefit of that.
Yep.
He was the Sam Bradford draft, right? 2010.
Yep.
I'd guess 85.
Yeah, I would have guessed 70. It's 93.7.
Wow.
Spotrac has career earnings, which is a really fun thing to look up. I'm going to do a post of the highest career earnings in Eagles history.
Fletcher's got to be up there. Peter's got to be up there.
Yeah, they're 1 and 2. Yeah,
Lane's probably pushing it.
Yeah, Lane's probably close.
Kelsey the last few years has made some big money. Now,
Yeah.
he was cheaper for a lot of
It
times.
takes, for a 6th-round pick, it just takes a while to catch up.
And people think of him now as like this all-time great. Like, it took a while to get there.
He didn't make an All-Pro till his 5th year.
Yeah.
He's the only player, I think the only player to make 6 All-Pro teams and none before his 30th birthday or something like that, which is insane. It took the league a while to realize how good he was.
And he got better too.
Yeah, he did. Although he told me the last week it was just BSing in his locker. I think it was the week before the Tampa game. He thinks his best year ever was 2013. He said before he had that sports hernia.
Yeah, I think he's probably thinking from a physical standpoint.
Well, yeah, he is.
Like, he's just thinking like, man, if I had that athletic, but he's just so smart now.
Yeah. But as physically, before he said this, he was never the same guy after the sports hernia in 14. And he said 13 was his best year. He believes that. But anyway, off topic. Sorry.
Yeah, it's always like the guy at the end of his career remembers how athletic he was at the beginning of his career, but he also didn't know what he knows.
That's true.
At the end.
I think it's the same thing with sports writers. Like, if I knew when I started out what I know now, like, we didn't have analytics back then.
Yeah, but you wouldn't know it.
I know.
Yeah.
But I wish I did.
There's a good joke by one of my favorite comedians, Nate Bargatze, where he says, like, if he went back in time, he wouldn't do any better. Like, he's like, he has a phone, but he doesn't know how any of it works. Like, he'd just be explaining things that are going to happen, but he couldn't tell you. Like, he's like, I think I'd go back and do worse.
Okay. It's funny. Go see him in concert.
I am. He's in our building. I'm taking my mom.
What's his name?
Nate Bargatze.
He's playing here?
He's huge.
I hope that was not one of his better jokes. Maybe his delivery. Maybe your delivery.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a comedian.
When's he going to be here?
March 7th. If anyone listens to this and knows my mom, don't tell her it's her birthday present.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Maybe Alex might want to cut this out.
Yeah. No, I mean, what are the chances?
I went to see a comedian once it was at a comedy club outside Trenton. And I was actually on a date with my first newspaper with the publisher's daughter.
You were on a date with the newspaper?
With the publisher's daughter, who I didn't realize at the time. She was just the receptionist. I didn't realize she was the publisher's daughter. I go to pick her up, and the publisher comes out, "Hey, Reuben." But anyway, it was somewhere in Trenton, and it was like 3 comedians. They just weren't funny. And the one was like trying to work the audience, and he was dying. He was just doing awful. And he comes up to me, and he's like, "So what do you do for a living?" And I said, "I'm a comedian." and that got which is a stupid answer, but it got a bigger laugh than anything he said. And I never went to see another comedian.
Oh, so
I think George Carlin's funny. That's about it.
I mean, so okay.
I just don't find comedians funny.
Okay. Who do you find funny?
Gaddy's pretty funny. My Gaddy. I don't know. I find more humor in random things that happen in life, I guess.
Yeah, if only there were people to point those things out on a stage into a microphone.
But if you see them all the time, just living life, you see funny stuff. But I don't know. I just haven't really. I mean, if there's a comedian somebody wants to recommend to me, I'll watch. I always thought David Brenner was pretty funny.
Okay. I love that your comedy knowledge just stops at a certain point.
Well, George Carlin, he was the best. Did you ever listen to old Woody Allen comedy? He was really funny. He did stand-up. No. I worked with a guy who had old vinyl of Woody Allen concerts doing comedy, and he was really, really funny. Yeah.
Okay.
He hadn't married his daughter yet at that point.
All right. The last 2 free agents here, Shaq Leonard and Bradley Roby. I think we can kind of lump them together.
Yeah.
And send them out of town.
Lump them together on the next train out of town. Yeah, that whole concept really failed. And in some ways they didn't have a choice. Howie didn't have a choice, but yeah. Yeah,
you're just trying to fill some holes on the roster, which
he
created.
Yes.
In a way.
Yes.
Although I guess Zach McPherson getting hurt threw off the plan.
Yeah.
At the slot corner. But I mean, Roby was he's all right, I guess. Shaq Leonard is a shame. He doesn't have it.
Yeah. He had that one game where he started to think.
But even in that game, it was just running downhill. He can run in a straight line.
Yeah.
He can't cover. He can't backpedal.
No.
His body's stiff.
Yeah, I would think he'll retire.
I don't know. It's a shame. I think he wants to keep playing. He was so good.
He was.
Man.
Not that long ago.
Best linebacker in the league.
He was.
And like a leader on that team.
And people got so excited with each one of these signings. Wow, they got Shaq Leonard. Oh my God.
Yeah.
They couldn't play. It was the same with all these guys.
Yeah. And he's not on this list because he technically has another year, but Kevin Byard was another one.
You don't think they'll keep him with that $14 million cap hit?
No, I mean, he will be a free agent.
He will.
Certainly. All right. Let's look at some of the head coaching gigs in the NFL. All these jobs are now filled with the Commanders hiring Dan Quinn. So let me run through them real quick, and then we'll kind of go into each of them. Chargers, Jim Harbaugh. Raiders.
Jim who? Jim who?
Harbaugh.
Okay.
What did I say?
It just kind of came out funny. I was like,
thanks for stopping me for that. Raiders, Antonio Pierce. Patriots, Gerard Mayo. Titans, Brian Callahan. Panthers, Dave Canales. Falcons, Raheem Morris. Seahawks, Mike McDonald. And then Commanders, Dan Quinn. Bill Belichick, Mike Vrabel shut out.
Yeah. And Matt Patricia shut out. Top candidate, according to a tweet. Yeah, it's been interesting. How do you want to approach this? What do you want?
You were going to ask me a question and you just didn't.
Well, I just didn't know what you had planned for this segment.
What's the best hire?
I mean, I think Harbaugh. I don't really like him.
I hate him.
Yeah.
And I have no reason to hate him. He just annoys the hell out of me.
Same.
But he's a really good coach.
Yeah.
And he wins everywhere he goes.
Yeah.
I hate seeing his face on TV.
I know.
It just bothers me.
It's always been funny because like his brother's like the nicest guy I've ever met in my life.
His brother has some annoying faces too.
Yeah, he does. He does those. But they're just so different. And it was always like I remember Harb saying like, yeah, I was the nice brother and he was, the
jerk.
Blank.
Yeah.
But he's a hell of a coach. And it was a great hire.
Yeah. I mean, he's won everywhere he's been.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't bet against him.
The only reason he wasn't coaching the Niners longer than he did was just personality conflicts. Mm-hmm. I was at that him and Trent Baalke.
Yeah, he was good there.
Yeah, he was. He was.
What do you make of the Dan Quinn hire?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of it.
Because they go from Ron Rivera
to Ron Rivera.
Kinda. Like, I think Dan Quinn's a good coach. I think it helps the Eagles because he's given them some trouble in Dallas and he's leaving there. And I don't think it's a great head coaching hire. I feel like they just panicked and went with a safe route.
Yeah. It's
tough to, I think for that franchise and that fan base, it's tough to get excited about Dan Quinn.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Cliff Kingsbury.
You had Bieniemy in the building. I don't think Bieniemy will ever be head coach at this point, but Quinn is Ron Rivera. I mean, they both had like one really good year, went to a Super Bowl, lost it, same division. I don't know. He just seems like Ron Rivera.
Yeah. A retread. Rivera had more success as a head coach.
Yeah. They never recovered from blowing that Super Bowl. I mean, he never did. I don't think he ever had a winning record again.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't get, I mean, there's so many good young candidates and, guys who have so much upside. I just don't see it with him. Who's any other, like Gerard Mayo? I don't know. I mean, he's been kind of
I found it fascinating that it was like written into his contract.
Yeah.
And no one knew.
Yeah. Isn't that cool?
That is cool. I kind of like that, and he's a guy we've heard about for a long time. The Eagles were really intrigued by him a few years ago. He wasn't ready for that job then, I don't think.
Right.
But I think from what I've heard, they were like very impressed when they talked to him.
What do you make of Brian Callahan? His dad coached here. His dad was Ray Rhodes' offensive line coach.
Yeah, I've heard good things about Ren Carthen, but I thought they had a really good coach. I wouldn't have fired Mike Vrabel.
Yeah.
And to me, I'm way more surprised that Mike Vrabel didn't get a job than I am Belichick.
Same. I didn't think Belichick would get a job.
Him going to the Falcons always seemed weird to me.
Yeah. And probably nobody liked him down there other than Arthur Blank. Like, I don't know. He's not a very likable guy. And just the fact that he's never, did he ever make the playoffs without Brady? I think the one year Brady got hurt, they won 11 games, but did make the playoffs,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, look, I think he's a good coach, obviously.
Yeah.
But he's 73?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now we got.
I think he wants to prove it.
I'm sure he does. He had to watch Tom go win a Super Bowl without him.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think he's going to get that chance. I like Antonio Pierce. I really like what he did when.
I like when an interim gets the job.
Yeah,
like when they just
if he does well.
But you wouldn't give it to him if they didn't.
Pat Shurmur. Well, he beat the Giants.
Pat Shurmur screwed us out of a London trip by winning that last game of the 15th season.
Oh yeah,
mm-hmm.
I remember that.
Yeah, the Eagles would have gone to London because it like slots. They would have gone to London the next year. And
anybody else screw you out of a London trip?
I'm intrigued by Dave Canales.
Yeah.
Thought he did some really good things. The problem with that job is if you're tied to the quarterback and the quarterback might not be that good.
Yeah.
And you're going to get fired in 2 years anyway.
Yeah.
Actually, so our Birds Huddle producer, Mike Mulhern, gave me a fun hypothetical. Said Dave Canales, over under 34 and a half games as the head coach.
I'm going to go over.
I think over. I don't think you can just keep firing coaches like this.
Yeah. Who did we talk about?
Raheem Morris and Mike Macdonald. Yeah. Everyone thought Dan Quinn was going to end up in Seattle. So I like Mike Macdonald. I thought he had a really good year. I don't know a ton about him as like a leader. I know what I saw from that defense, and that was impressive.
Yeah.
And Denard Wilson, by the way, we should mention with the Titans as their new DC.
Yeah. Good for him.
Yeah, Eagles screwed that up.
They sure did.
Should have hired him.
Should have hired him as DC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last year.
Yep.
They just screwed it up. He presented a defense that did not fall in line with what they wanted schematically, and they got scared and hired Sean Desai.
Oops.
Yeah, it was a disaster.
Do you know what details do you know about what he wanted to do?
Denard Wilson?
Yeah.
Like without getting too much into the scheme, like from a personality standpoint, he wanted to be more aggressive. He didn't want to run a Fangio system. He didn't want to be like, he wanted to dictate more on defense.
Yeah.
Which didn't fall in line, from my understanding, with what Nick wanted, which is to prevent big plays. Yeah. Which I understand that. And there's a reason the Fangio system's been copied so much. And I think with the guy who actually came up with it and who knows everything about it, I think you have a much better shot than with the guy who's trying to copy it.
Right.
Even if that guy did work with him, I think you're in a much better spot. And Fangio he came up with a lot of this because he was willing to change things, right? So like, I think having that coach in place is better. But I think Denard Wilson was the guy they had in their building who we all saw was going to be a DC. It took him too long to get there.
Yeah. Although I wonder if like they might not have even had enough talent for him to excel.
Maybe not excel.
He might have been better off going to Baltimore and then getting this opportunity.
Maybe for him,
yeah,
Eagles would have been a better defense.
Yes. But I don't know if they would have been good enough for him to get this opportunity.
Well, he already would have been at DC.
Yeah, that's true.
He wouldn't need the opportunity would have been here.
I mean, he might not be next year. You know what I'm saying? Like, who knows?
Yeah, if we go in our time machine, I think he would have done a good enough job to keep his job.
He probably would have. Interesting. Mm-hmm. I think he's a really good coach.
And maybe the whole trajectory of this season is different.
Possibly. Yeah.
Might not have helped the offense, but if they don't collapse because the defense is such hot garbage.
I just don't know if they had the players.
They didn't have the players, but
it would have helped.
I have faith that they would have been able to get lined up.
Yeah. That's fair.
Yeah. Raheem Morris is a guy who gets a second crack at being a head coach. I didn't think he was bad the last time.
Yeah, good for him.
And he's someone who we've heard, like, his players love him. There was like a real excitement from everyone who's ever played under him when he got this job.
If you can win 10 games with Josh Freeman as your quarterback, you're a good coach. Mm-hmm. And I think he's what Atlanta needs. Well, they need some juice down there.
Arthur Smith was bad.
Yeah.
That was not good.
That was not a good situation.
Which of these coaches lasts the longest and which one's fired first?
Oh, I like that. Which one? I'm going to say Dan Quinn is fired first. Like week 8 next year.
I can see that.
Who lasts the longest? I'm not going to say Harbaugh because he just strikes me as a guy that's got like a limited shelf life.
Yeah, you burn out of him.
Yeah. Like he'll be really
for
good.
A while.
How long? How long was it at Michigan? Hey, college is different, but
quite a while.
Yeah. Who's going to be there the longest?
He got the Michigan in 15 and lasted through 23.
Okay. I'm going to say Antonio Pierce. I think he'll be there a while. I think he's pretty good.
Part of me does think that Harbaugh could just like build a really good program there, coach there, and then that's it. Like coach there a long time. I don't think that's going to happen.
Be. Heck, his brother's been with the Ravens for about 16 years.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Gerard Mayo.
That's a good guess because they kept the last guy for 30 years.
Yeah, that's part of the math here is like figuring out what the team does.
But there's also like the expectation that you're going to
win all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's not a very good team. I agree with that. The shortest, I kind of agree with you. I think it's Dan Quinn.
Yeah. It's just a really uninspiring. It's like, all right, who's left?
And then Cliff Kingsbury on top of it doesn't do a lot for me either.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was really hoping Chip got that job.
Me too.
That would have just been fun.
The OC job.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would have been great. He still might. Are there any OCs left? I have to check. I don't think there's any. Yeah, it's fun having him in the league. He'll be back at some point.
I think he wants to be back in the NFL.
Yeah.
That's what Harbaugh said. No Lombardis in college football.
So true.
Yeah. All right. Want to take a quick break?
Yeah.
Let's do that. And we have some more stuff on the other side.
You deserve a car that thrills you, a car that puts goosebumps on your goosebumps. At Nissan, we got everything from turbocharged SUVs to 100% electric vehicles that'll make your heart beat faster. Experience the thrill for yourself and shop your local Nissan store at nissanusa.com today.
Celebrity cook Steve Martorano brings his Italian-American cooking back home to Philly. Enjoy Martorano's Prime at Rivers Casino and Steve's famous meatballs with Sunday gravy, prime steaks, and more. Make reservations at Martorano's Prime on Open Table. Super Bowl just a few days away, Rube. I'm excited for this game. I know not a lot of people are. I don't think these are the teams that most people wanted to see in this game, at least around here.
I always enjoy it. I always enjoy the Super Bowl. And then there's that realization, like there's no more football till September.
It felt weird on Sunday without football, real football.
Yeah, Sunday was weird. This isn't in the script, but I want to ask you this anyway. We talked about this the other day. Do you have like a favorite memory of last year of Arizona and covering the Super Bowl and
the game or the week?
The week or the game, anything, just the whole. Yeah.
Yeah. The scariest security guard I've ever seen in my life when we were pulling up to the.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah. He looked like a guy out of a movie. He was really like I guess he was like a state trooper. They were like
special forces.
He was like 6'5", jacked, had dark sunglasses on, had the earpiece in.
Yeah.
And we pulled up and he was telling us, I'm like, sir, whatever you need. We're just
you want my laptop?
We're just trying to talk to some football players, sir.
Some money. And the funny thing was, that was like there was like a long access road leading into the Eagles facility. And there was like special forces trucks out there. And then we go to the Chiefs the next morning. It's like
nothing there.
One old security guy, hey, go ahead, park anywhere you want. That guy was like, if I would have taken a picture of him, but I was afraid he'd kill me.
Oh yeah, you couldn't take a picture of him.
No, there are no pictures of him. That's a good one.
the camera would explode.
Yeah, that was
Any actual memory. This is going to be a weird one, but talking to Isaac Sammalu for like a half hour, like him really opening up to me after having known him for all these years and him like grunting at me for most of it. That was fun.
Yeah, that goes back to your theory about how these guys hate us until we're the only ones they know, and then they love us.
Yeah.
It's a common dynamic. I think about, and it just reminded me of this. After we got done the post-game show, so it's a couple hours after the game ended, and I'm like, I'm never going to find Dave. We're like a mile from the stadium on this scaffolding in the middle of at the end of the parking lot, and I'm never going to find Dave. I walk out, I walk down the steps, and you're just walking in through the parking lot. Like, oh, hey, how'd you get here?
I don't even know. Sometimes getting out of Super Bowls is crazy because there's like the security, all the measures are still there, but no one's there to man them.
Yeah.
So you're like trying to climb through fences and
climb gates.
People don't. That's one of the funniest parts about being a sports reporter is leaving stadiums and getting locked in.
Yeah.
It's a real problem.
Yeah. I'll never forget getting locked into the Superdome. We couldn't find the exit, and there was like 6 of us walking around. I'll never forget Jack McCaffrey from the Delaware County Times commandeered a cart, like one of the service carts, and we all climbed in. We just started driving around in circles looking for an exit. And then a security guy, we finally saw a security guy, and he didn't even care. And we're like, how do you get out of here? He's like, oh, just go down this tunnel here and then make a left, and there's a gate. And we just drove down and just but yeah. And I remember trying to get out of the first time we were at the new Giants stadium. There's no way out. And it turns out that there's like a little secret.
Now they have someone like manning that door all the time.
Manning? I get it.
There's someone Eli Manning that door all the time.
Someone manning the door. But yeah, there's a bunch of stories. But my favorite real memory, I guess, was you know what? It was talking to Greg Ward.
Oh yeah.
And it took me all of media day to find him. I'd been looking for him for about a month. Never saw him in the locker room. I just thought it was a cool story that this guy's been on the practice squad for 2 Super Bowl teams 6 years apart. And we had a great conversation, and he just couldn't believe I wanted to talk to him.
Yeah. We love media night. A lot of people, like reporters, like beat guys, hate media night because it's like a circus. But it's great because while it's like a diversion. The circus is happening, and you go and everyone's available.
Yeah.
All the position coaches.
Yeah, we had like an hour and a half in there, right?
Yeah. I talked to Roy Isvin that day for a long time about Stout.
Yeah. I remember talking.
That's when CJ Gardner-Johnson interviewed me for a vlog that we'll never see.
We both met Julian Lurie.
I hadn't met him before, but I had a chance to like really chat with him for a while.
Yeah, that was cool. I'd never spoken to him. But yeah, that was but the funniest one was, I'd been having this ongoing conversation with Kelsey about the difference between a diner and a diner and a deli, and what defines whether a restaurant's a diner or a deli. And you remember the crowds around Kelsey every time he did an interview. He'd be sitting there for an hour surrounded by 100 cameras, microphones, and it was the last day. He comes off the thing and he sees me and he's like, the other thing is like, if it's going to be a deli, it's got to have a porcelain mustard jar on each table. Okay.
Yeah. I met Travis that week too, which was weird because I felt like I kind of knew Travis because I've seen him so much.
Yeah.
And Jason for so long.
Yeah.
And I know they're very different people, but they kind of have similar mannerisms.
Yeah, very much.
So that was weird talking to him for the first time.
I think you just combined mannerisms with aneurysms. You said mannerisms. It's a good word. You were there when I wanted to talk to Bieniemy about the '99 Eagles and with all the coaches and what, the future coaches and what influence they were on him. And I was like, man, I don't know. I'm going to have to stand in line and talk to him. And we were waiting for the teams to come out. We're up at the Chiefs' place, and I sat down at the Bieniemy table. And he comes in, sits down, and there was no one else there. I ended up talking to him for like 40 minutes by myself. And there was another coach there, a quality control coach, who ended up being Ted Williams' son, who we knew. And it was really cool meeting him.
I caught up with Kevin Flagel.
Yeah, he's with
day.
the Chiefs now.
Yeah, linebackers coach with the Chiefs.
Yeah.
And it was kind of a full circle moment because in way back when in Minnesota, I talked to him about that Chris Long
Yes.
bet.
The bet.
And then I got to follow up with he told me that he FaceTimed with Chris once, and Chris's wife popped on and she was like, "I know you. I see you every morning."
That's really funny.
Yeah.
I ran the last half mile or so of the Eagles Autism Challenge 5K with Ken Flagel, right past the stadium here and into the south entrance of the lake right over there. Good
Thanks
guy.
for pointing that out to the
good guy
listeners.
He was telling me, he says, "You think 2-a-days were hard? When I was playing, we used to have 3-a-days." Anyway.
Yeah, that leads us to this game.
Yes.
Flagel's coaching linebackers. That defense is really good. I think that's like the most underrated unit of this Super Bowl. Everyone talks about Patrick Mahomes. Everyone talks about both sides of the 49ers team. Spags' defense is playing really well.
Yeah. Yeah. He's really been a huge hire for Andy since he got back there or got there. Maybe five years ago or so. Not a head coach, but hell of a coordinator.
Head coach of that defense.
Yeah, he is certainly.
All the guys after the AFC Championship game wearing "In Spags We Trust" T-shirts.
Yeah. No, that's a great point, and that's going to be a fascinating matchup because the Niners have so many weapons.
That offense is dynamic.
It really is. It's fun to watch. I think the Chiefs can score some points, but I just don't know if that defense can hold up against what the Niners do. But they're really interesting matchups on both sides. They're really two very complete teams. It's kind of funny that the weakest unit of the four might be the Chiefs' offense.
Yeah, I think that might be true, except something tells me it's not going to be weak in this game.
Yeah.
It isn't. In big games, it's not weak.
They just don't have the weapons. I mean, Pacheco, he's a nice player.
Did they have him last year?
Pacheco?
Did they have the weapons last year, I'm saying?
Well, I mean,
it was a lot of the talk going into that game.
Guys who hadn't been turned into him. You're right. I like Rice. He's come on a little bit. Yeah, I mean, guys on that team seem to rise to the occasion.
I think for the second straight year, the other team in the NFC is clearly more talented top to bottom.
Yeah.
And I still don't know if it's going to matter. We agree on that. The Eagles top to bottom were more talented than the Chiefs last year.
I would agree with that.
And I think the 49ers clearly are more talented than the Chiefs
top to bottom. Sure. Yeah, that's why I think they're going to win. We'll see. It's going to be fun. I think it'll be a close game. I think Andy has a chance to really cement his legacy if he wins another one.
I mean, his legacy is pretty good.
But he'll have lost 4.
Yeah. You got to get to him to lose them.
Yeah, he'll have won 2. But I mean, that winning a third one will put him into how many guys have won 3? Like 5 or 6. Not a lot of guys who won 3. Yeah, I'm going to look it up. How much time do you have? We're okay on time. I can do this quickly. Guys who've won 3 Super Bowls. Belichick won 6. Chuck Noll won 4. Gibbs won 3 with different quarterback each time. Bill Walsh won 3, and that's it. Other guys have won 3 championships. George Halas, Curly Lambeau, Vince Lombardi, Guy Chamberlain. One of them was right here in Philly with the Frankfurt Yellow Jackets.
That was an exciting year for you, right?
The Yellow Jackets locker room access was really bad.
Yeah. The city was buzzing.
They were. The Yellow Jackets. You know how back then there was no championship game. Whoever had the best record was the champion. That's why there's so much controversy about the Pottstown championship, that they didn't count because they decided one of their games was a scrimmage and not a game, and that dropped them below the threshold to have the best record. The Pottstown wasn't even the team. The Maroons. Yeah,
we all know about that.
No, there was they should have won the championship. Pottsville, not Pottstown. The Pottsville Maroons. They should have won the championship. They were 10-2 in 1925, and They were actually 11-2, and the NFL decided one of their wins was technically a scrimmage, and they took it away, and it gave a different team
Was that Goodell?
the championship. You have no respect for the history of the game.
Am I going to offend the 1925 Yellow Jackets?
No, it's the Pottsville Maroons. It's not the Yellow Jackets.
Okay.
But, there's still a movement in Pottsville to this day to get that turned around. And
let me tell Pottsville this: get over it.
No, there's lawsuits. There's like committees. Their coach, Dick Roush, was from Bethlehem, I believe. I believe he was a Bethlehem guy, Penn State. There's a lot of history of this team, Dave, before Kevin Cobb took over this league. Pottsville Maroons.
If you had to take one player,
yes,
off the 49ers and off the Chiefs for the Eagles next season, who would you take? And it's just 1 year thing. So you're not like thinking about,
right.
And you're not thinking about contracts either.
Wait, one player off the Frankfurt Yellow Jackets or from, I would probably take Christian McCaffrey.
Okay.
From the Niners.
I think that's fair. He's dynamic.
I mean, it's tempting to say Mahomes just because he's Mahomes, but I'd probably go Chris Jones if it's for 1 year.
How about Snead?
I think they could find a spot for him.
Yeah, Chris Jones is a good one.
Would you go Snead?
For the sake of not making people mad and saying Mahomes, because I probably would say Mahomes, honestly. And that's not a shot at Jalen. Please,
it would be fun to see Patrick Mahomes throwing to AJ and Devontae.
I just think he's the best I've ever seen.
Yeah. But to me, it's like,
if you're trying to find the biggest area of improvement, it wouldn't be that.
Right.
Maybe. But Snead, certainly.
I mean, the difference between Snead and Eli Ricks is big.
If you're looking at the 49ers, you could say Fred Warner for a year.
You could.
I think I'd go McCaffrey, though.
Yeah. He's so good.
He's unbelievable. I don't know how long he'll be unbelievable.
I know.
But I didn't have faith that he would stay healthy with the 49ers. That was my one worry when they got him. But they're just a completely different team after that trade.
Yep. That's what
he has completely unlocked that offense.
Carolina is a completely different team, too.
That is true.
It kind of, yeah. But I mean, you look at his year. McCaffrey, he had 1,459 rushing yards, 14 touchdowns. He ran for 83 first downs. Jalen Hurts was second on that list with 59. And he averaged 5.4 yards per carry and caught, how many catches did we have? Like 67 for another 560 yards and another 7 touchdowns. He scored 21 touchdowns this year and had over 2,000 scrimmage yards.
He's unreal.
Is he a Hall of Famer yet? Probably not.
Probably not. Although running backs is like the shelf life is so short. I'd rather have in general, I look at the Hall of Fame like I'm more of a peak than a compiler guy. Like I like TD being in there. So over like a Frank Gore, who look is obviously a Hall of Famer. It's not, but like I like I look
peak. For a 5-year. Was this guy the best of the league over 5 years? Okay. TD was.
Certainly.
Frank Gore wasn't.
But he did enough to be a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I would agree with that. But I mean, McCaffrey had a couple of huge years in Carolina too. I mean, I think he was a first-team All-Pro in 19. He led the league in scrimmage. He actually had more scrimmage yards that year. He had over 1,000 receiving yards that year. He caught 116 balls that year in Carolina.
One of the most dynamic weapons in the league.
Yeah, maybe Cam Newton didn't even play that year. Who was throwing him the ball? I don't even know. Kyle Allen. Wow. Anyway, Kyle Allen? Yeah.
I have some odds here.
Yeah.
Powered by Fanatics. Over-unders here.
Okay.
I like this. Brock Purdy passing yards. 245.5.
That's pretty high. I'm going to take the under.
Okay. I think I'm with you on that. Mahomes passing yards, 265.5.
I'll take the over.
I take the over too. If he hasn't hit that,
Yeah.
probably not winning.
Yeah.
McCaffrey rushing plus receiving, 130.5.
That's a really high number.
Really high number.
I'll take the under. But wouldn't shock me.
If he hits that over, not only do they probably win, but he's probably MVP.
Could be. I mean, they have so.
He just tells you how good he is.
They just have.
And his anytime touchdown odds are crazy.
Yeah.
Like he's going to score.
Yeah.
Isaiah Pacheco rushing 65.5.
That's a tougher one.
I think he can run against the 49ers.
Yeah, I do too. I think I'm going to go over on that.
Yeah, me too. Kelsey receiving 70.5.
Over. He'll have that in the first half.
I don't know about that. How about Debo rushing yards?
I have to tell you, somebody was trying to convince me. I was getting takeout, and it was trying to convince me that the game was fixed because of Kelsey and what's her name, Taylor Swift.
Yeah, I've heard of her.
I'm sorry,
I've heard of her. Yeah,
yeah, singer from. Where's she from? Reading.
Mm-hmm.
Why missing?
Sure.
Wissanoming. I always get Wissanoming and Why missing confused.
Even your tangents have tangents today.
That's such a good point. Which one is Why Missing's out there, Wissanoming's here. But anyway, he was trying to convince me that the game was fixed because the NFL wants, I don't remember, they want Taylor Swift, they want Travis Kelce to be the MVP because Taylor Swift helps the ratings. Although, like, what games is she going to help the ratings for?
I think we're going to watch the Super Bowl. And I think the team that's been there like every year for the past 6 years is probably going to get there anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, but he was.
At least we got to end the stupid like color controversy. You see that with the Super Bowl logos.
I missed that.
You're better for it.
Okay.
Debo Samuel rushing yards 15.5. I won't watch rushing yards because I think that's kind of fun.
Yeah, I'll take under.
Okay. I don't really have a read on that.
Yeah.
Just kind of a fun one.
Yeah.
Are you a big commercials guy in the Super Bowl? You don't care?
No. And it's funny because
I could have guessed that probably.
I haven't mentioned this. I lost my dad this fall, and my dad would come over. My dad was the biggest not a sports fan ever. Like, he couldn't tell you what team Babe Ruth played for. Mm-hmm. I mean, he could tell you like how many positions are on a baseball field. Like, he was a brilliant guy. He was a scientist and a researcher and a translator, professor. But he was like, and my mom was a huge Indians fan because she grew up, or whatever. What are they now?
Guardians.
But she grew up in Cleveland, watching Bob Feller and all that. She was a huge sports fan, huge Phillies fan. Loved the Phillies, loved Maxey, loved the Sixers. But my dad would come over every year for the Super Bowl, and he wouldn't watch the game, but he would get so excited for the commercials, and he would somebody would throw like a 71-yard touchdown pass, and he would be like, reading the paper or something, and then a commercial would come on, and he'd be like glued to the TV. It was always fun having him over. So, but I'm not a commercial guy.
You're a big Usher fan, though. You're excited for the halftime.
I like an Usher. Like, if I know where my seat is, I don't really need him. I can look, like if I was at Sellersville Theater a couple weeks ago and the guy's like, can I show you? I'm like, I know where I'm in like A16. I know where it is. But if it's like a really big venue I'm not familiar with.
How long are you going to do this?
Till you stop me, Dave.
I'd like to stop you. I'd like to stop you.
I don't know. I've never heard Usher's music, so I can't really comment.
Okay. He has some hits. I think it'll be a good show. I thought.
He had some hits.
I thought Rihanna, like the performance was pretty cool.
Yeah, I didn't watch that. I do know that Paul McCartney was the halftime entertainment at the Eagles Jacksonville Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So that was great.
Do you remember who the halftime was at 52?
Yeah, was it Justin Timberlake?
It was Justin Timberlake.
Yeah, and there was a guy behind me, and I'm trying to write my observations. There's a guy behind me singing. And it was just,
sorry about that.
I was like, I finally turned around and I said, "Can you just shut up?" I'm trying to work here. And he was like a stadium worker or something. He just camped out behind me singing.
I did so for Rihanna.
That's impressive. I remember that though, right?
Yeah, no, it is good. I snuck down to
I remember that
the concourse to
with
watch.
John Clark. Did you guys?
I think he went down too. I went down with Palmer.
Okay.
It was cool to see it, like, because the performance is amazing with the lights and the dancers and
the fake fans that they bring in to go crazy.
It was cool. Yeah, you have a favorite Super Bowl halftime?
I thought Up With People was really good the first year. I don't know. If I was in charge, I'd have Frisbee dogs every year.
I would be on board with that.
You know,
who would you choose? Like,
you know what I'm going to say.
No. But like, you have to choose it with like someone realistic.
Guided by Frickin' Voices would be the halftime show. Because they could play 15 songs in during a halftime and they'd blow people's minds.
All right, but a realistic band.
What are you saying?
They're not going to. Guided by Voices isn't going to do the halftime show.
They could.
Okay.
Robert Pollard's brother was Mr. Basketball in Ohio over John Paxson.
I don't know how that would get them halftime.
Yeah, it was just kind of a sports angle. Pollard threw a no-hitter for Wright State when he was playing college baseball. All right, out of a realistic band who's huge right now, I don't know if there's anybody I'd want to see who's hugely popular.
Okay.
Is Jason Isbell popular enough?
I don't know if that's the vibe they're going.
That's probably not the vibe. He's out there singing.
Got an acoustic
Don't
guitar.
wash the cast iron skillet. It's probably not gonna go over too well. Let's see. I'm trying to think like who I've seen in our building that I've enjoyed. Probably ELO probably wouldn't get it.
No,
it wouldn't be asked. Did Tom Petty ever do one?
I think he was part of one. Yeah, I think he did one.
That would have been amazing. I can't really
think the biggest bands like Foo Fighters could do it.
Yeah,
I know you're not a fan, but like
they're okay. They'd be fine. I sat next to Taylor Hawkins on a flight to Chicago.
Yeah,
that was cool. What a nice guy. But yeah, there's the music I listen to isn't really conducive to Super Bowl halftime shows.
Okay. I
did see Kay Hanley of Letters to Cleo sing the national anthem before an Eagles-Patriots preseason game in Foxborough. Kay Hanley went on to become a backup singer for Miley Cyrus, who won a Grammy last night. Letters to Cleo,
Miss Cleo?
Letters to Cleo. It's a band from Boston. They're great.
Okay.
Should be into them.
I thought Chris Stapleton's anthem last year was awesome.
He's great. Yeah, that was good.
And I remember joking with Nick Sirianni, like, well after the fact. And I was like, that's like going to be one of the most viewed anthems ever.
Yeah.
And every time people watch it, it's going to be you crying.
Yeah. That is in so many memes now. Like,
yeah.
Like the Eagles have promoted Matt Patricia, and there's Nick crying, But
it was a great anthem, though.
It was.
It was a cool. Anthem's a tough song.
Oh, it's really tough.
I like that one. You ever see the Marvin Gaye version from the '82 All-Star game?
Yeah. You're not going to believe who did the best anthem I ever saw, or one of the best, was Kelsey Grammer, the actor from Frasier.
Really?
And I didn't even know he was a singer. See, the thing to me with the anthem is too many people try to add flourishes to it, and they try to make it into they try to stylize it, and it shouldn't be. I just like it straight.
Well, I mean, Marvin Gaye stylized the heck out of it.
Yeah, I guess I just don't remember his. But I like it straight to the point. It's not a piece of music that should be. You shouldn't be like trying to turn it into something it's not. It should be very straightforward.
The Whitney Houston one is she just sang the heck out of it.
Yeah, not a fan.
Oh, the version?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I don't think screaming is really singing. It's just one of my theories.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah. Just don't.
You think she was screaming?
She screeches when she sings. She just yeah.
Oh my goodness.
It's too much. She takes a song and wrestles it to the ground instead of just singing it.
All right. Who do you have in this game?
Niners.
I have the Chiefs.
Have you ever seen Chris Stapleton?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Where'd you see him?
Camden.
How was that?
Good.
I've never seen him. I'd like to.
Yeah, he's good. I mean, tickets are crazy for him now. And I was on the lawn. Like I didn't get a seat, which I would have. I didn't get, like when tickets went on sale, I didn't get them. So I wasn't going to spend crazy money.
What's the most you've ever spent on a concert ticket? Everything's expensive.
Yeah. I don't know offhand. It's crazy how expensive. Like, I feel like in the last 15 years, it's gone through the roof.
Yeah. If the Super Bowl was ever here, which it never would be, they'll never have it in Northeast Outdoors again. You have like a bunch of Philly bands out there. That'd be fun.
Before or during halftime of the 2017 NFC Championship game, the Roots played.
Really?
And it was really cool. Well before that game, they were doing sound check on the field, and I happened to be down there. So I just walked over, and like there were like 20 of us watching the Roots play. Like,
really?
It was really cool, yeah.
We saw U2 do sound check at the Vet during the day. The Roots keyboard player, his son played. He was a great high school football player. Can't think of his name. Anyway, yeah, that's pretty cool. The Roots are great. Could the Roots do it? They couldn't do a Super Bowl halftime, could they? That would be awesome.
I think they could do it as like a collaboration. I think they would need some, like, I'm not looking at it from my viewpoint, looking at it from like mass appeal. I think they would need to like sprinkle in some other artists.
Have Chill Moody out there too, maybe.
Sure, yeah. All right, so you're taking 49ers.
I'm taking the 49ers.
I'm taking the Chiefs.
Close game.
Hope everyone enjoys watching the big game. I know it's a little different this year.
Are you going to be able to watch it?
I'll be back.
Okay.
I'm back for Super Bowl.
All right.
Yeah, wouldn't miss it. All right, everyone, if you enjoy the Eagle Eye Podcast, please do us a favor. Rate and subscribe wherever you get your pods. If you're watching on YouTube, click the like button, subscribe there as well. That's it for Rube. I'm Dave. This has been Eagle Eye, presented by Nissan. We'll talk to you soon.